I see how to find you. You'll have to, actually, I'm not sure what time of day it is where you live, but in Tallahassee, Florida, in the Florida jurisdiction, it is morning. It's a good morning, good Saturday morning. Brothers, sisters, fraternity, you see naturally over here now. I'm just giving a little background for you, hopefully, to make this presentational. Huh? Otherwise, it's just going to be me saying, "Hello, brother. Hello, sister. How you doing? Love you." Yeah. As well, if there's any way I could be of assistance, hesitate not to contact me. Reach out to me. Area code 850. United States code is 1850 321 9512. That's me, a personal number. Or also, you can also reach out to me by my email, Williams Victor 237 at gmail.com. Right? And that being said, you can obviously text me or some other method. Could hit me up, a messenger or something like that. I don't want you to get the idea that I'm not, as well as able, willing to be of assistance for any brother or sister who's in need, no matter what level of need it is, or if it's truly distress, something that's truly traumatic, um, that we're trying to avoid, or if it is removing my Oscar, my doors, yeah, um, in the metropolitan, of course, madam. And, that's a big deal to me that I'm able and willing. Some of us are able, not willing, right? Some of us are willing, not able. It gets kind of tough there, doesn't it? Trying to express how much energy we have, we wish we could contribute, but because of something beyond our control, we're not finding the means. You know, by reasoning, we're not finding the means by which we'll be able to carry those actions out, or even participation in those activities. Freemasonry has become a very big deal to me, a very large subject, a topic to talk about. And it's because I've been learning a lot about different aspects of Freemasonry in history. And the modern way, we're all human sovereign beings, and we've no way to control the future, where it concerns the plurality, right? So I think we've been doing a lot of energy research. We've been just filling ourselves with the essence of what this is, in um, both tangible and non-tangible ways. And so I'm very elated every single time, not just today. And when I get the opportunity to be in a congregation where there are Freemasons, and it's been 26 years in this fraternity for me, from 1998 when I was 18 years old. I'm 1980 baby, January 25th. I'm an Aquarius. And I graduated high school in 1997. So the year after that, since I do have relatives in the fraternity, I was aware that once I was 18, I'd be of age to in terms of eligibility to join the fraternity. Right. So when 18 came in 1998, I was sworn in. Right. I volunteered. Uh, Asked the question for me. Um, it was the question, not just that question. There's the question: will you make me a Mason? And I like that today, looking at it. Of course, because from there I became a Freemason, and so I've really no reason to revisit it. But just for, I guess, to share some of my personal life experience, especially as a Freemason, with other Freemasons, even sisters in the chapter. Uh, uh, I think that the question, how do I join the fraternity? How can I become a member? Is for me, it's a lot more secular No pun intended. So it's my opinion. It's a disclaimer. These statements do not reflect the standpoint or the stance of Freemasonry on such things that I might cross in terms of points and philosophy. Um, Rather, these are my own opinions. Uh, and so I, feel like being a member is more secular. You could be a member, and it's something that you've still got to deal with as well, right? As everybody else in your lodge, hmm? Or your chapter. Right? Joining the fraternity, same thing. There's still a little ledge there left over for the individual to practice agency or exercise agency, actually, and further govern his or her decisions, right? Choices. And to me, the significance in asking, will you make me a Mason, gets out of it being so secular because only under the working tools can one become a perfect ashlar. And so it's a more of a critical question for me looking at it here to ask, so I've asked at 18, thank the Lord was my mother made sure, my father made sure that education was the first priority for me, intelligence and character. So a lot of those things I retained, and when I was of a legal age, those things, intellectual things came to aid me. You know, controversially, in an ironic way of speaking, to handle the conversation actually, right? Freemasons are also lots of us are very also post-secondary educated. We have degrees, etc., of college degrees, and etc. And we can insight on a lot of things we discuss in ways that others can't or won't, right? So, excuse me. Excuse I asked because it's the way I felt about becoming a Freemason, based on just the image of Masons around in the community, at home where I live, and the Order of the Eastern Stars, where at home where I live. As a child, through elementary, middle school, high school, you got it right into this day. Eh? Though I'm not 18, I'm 44. Kind of going on 20 something, but I've taken good care of myself, and I appreciate being a part of the early risers this morning who are in that kind of mood towards themselves that energizes him or her to get up and tell everyone else, hey, how are you? Uh, or even answer. Some people just go and pretend they don't hear anything, and perhaps they're just for doing that. You never know what comes out of a person's mouth sometimes. Ahead of time, you never know. So sometimes when you put those things together after you have heard a person out, you make no sense of what they've said, and so it's all the same, even in that type of context. So for me, asking, "Will you make me a Mason?" is asking, once I'm in the fraternity, which bypasses the question, "How do I join the fraternity?" And once I become a member, right, which bypasses the question, "How can I become a member, be a member?" To actually working on this Mason. And this is how the question is to me, in essence: will you make me a Mason? It's not asking, will you let me join? Will I be initiated? It's asking after that, after I've been initiated, after I'm accepted into the lodge as a member, as a brother, as a Freemason. Uh, will that be because of you and what I've trusted in, this endeavor? Is this lodge really efficient for me? Does it build me? Can it build me? Right? That's different from getting into fraternity and membership because those are divisional terms. They're broken up in fragments. A fraternity, obviously, right, is that way. There's no one owner of it. And so, along with that, which is not going to include just the single word Mason, by the way, in my opinion, member as well is a divisional or symbol type of thing. But asking, will you make me a Mason, is charging the Mason before you're a Mason, if you ask me. It's not, will you give me the right petition, the right application form to petition for membership? Or will you be open on the days which you posted that says that these are the days and times that the lodge is meeting, for those who want to find their way along in Freemasonry. And it's getting to, will you make me a Mason, which is a very specific question. It's not as general as for asking, can I join the fraternity, or can I be a member, or how do I join those things. I didn't approach the Freemasonry that way. So I asked, on this day, 1998, will you make me a Mason? And now I'm 44. It's 2024. And so I'm very glad I had the opportunity, because of my choice of words, the way I dictated my interpretation of obviously something that's come and go, you never know, by night, because it's a person's own free will to endeavor it. And for that matter, even from the first to the 33rd degree, there's just so much discretion and freedom and liberty that each person has. If you want to go that route, you are free to go that route. If you don't, you're free to go the route you want to go, right? And so, yeah, I do believe that today, in commemoration of 1998, 20th century, Lord, thank you, because we've got history. And I know that it's in history I was initiated in the craft. And, we're here. And I say I was made a Mason. And that means I approve this service. I approve the fellow craft, working tools wise, right? The working tools of the fellow craft, which are used in the first degree, with the first degree proficiency and the second degree proficiency, the third degree, to carve out the rough ashlar into a perfect ashlar, the candidate to a perfect ashlar, right? And that's the process of making a Mason. And that's what I wanted to know when I wanted to join. So, will you make me a Mason? This person could have said, well, of course I'll make you a Mason. Let me show you the recipe here. This is the procedure, the manual of how it's done. And not have at all, thought that I was actually asking if I could join the fraternity, right? But rather something more conventional, like his personal skill, his ability as a professional in business. Can you make me a Mason? Can you build it? It could have been asking him. Can you build or construct me a Mason? But he's an intellectual gentleman, since he is a Mason, which he's passed away to the Grand Lodge up above now, and has been for a decade now. Earlier in the millennium, the 21st century, he passed away to the Grand Lodge up above. And so, yes, I can say to this day, he's a relative of mine. And that's why I joined in 1998 instead of 2001 at 21. Um, that that I was made a Mason, and I thank him. And so, passing that energy forward, moving along with it, moving forward, ever backwards, never. I greet you, brethren, this morning and sisters, with just a chat from a gentleman who's a Freemason. I don't intend to bring any type of controversy into our early Saturday morning, or politics, or mysterious things, or anything like that. If it's to be, we could do it later on. I've anyways two meetings, two different lodges today. So one meeting, two lodges, one meeting twice. I don't know. I put it different, a number of ways. Uh, One of them is at noon, and the other is 1 p.m. Each of these time zones are Eastern. So I'm here in the peninsula of the nation. And so um, I'm going to be getting on with the some large others lodging members in the Washington D.C. area, which is going to be really great. Kent Duke Masonic Grand Lodge is there, which is a large Grand Lodge I hail from. Um, you know, and I want to say, big recognition to our Masonic coordinator at the Kent Duke Masonic uh, Lodge in D.C., Brother Dempsey, my Grandmaster, Master Williams. My last name's Williams as well, so and I'm Master Mason. Master Williams and others. I'm not big on like disclosing names, etc., like that, because it's something that goes back to the craft lodge with me and ritual. And so I'm very passionate about the ritual. I have made this known, expressed this in the meetings. It's been recognized by brethren whom are elder brethren to me, to know proficiency wise and talking of the craft, that I am a following along, brother. I'm not blowing in the wind or lost, etc., without a light. And I felt, you know, I felt this way earlier when I got to get me exercises in, physical exercise, and I said, well, and then I had breakfast, and I said, well, I can't really sit on a stomach and know of all there is to the professional practice world and not engage in a little bit of dialogue with my brethren and sisters, a little dialogue with the fraternity. I've been learning a lot more about the Bavarian Luminosity uh, in terms of history and Grand Lodges and where it's moved, reasons why, and how, as well, developmental perspectives about it today in the modern world and what we're to make of modernism, realism, romanticism, absolutism, realism. I think I said already, but those type of things, utilitarianism, and what we're doing with today's work in the general sense. Today's the whole society's means into a craft. How we're modifying systems, thinking towards the 21st, 22nd century. Um, since we are just those types of futuristically thinking beings that have machines, and what kind of little Jurassic jungles we build just to frame a certain vision that we have somewhere, and to serve no more of a purpose than that. And maybe it cost $1 billion, but we are human, living being, reproducing, reproductive species, and we do have a reason to keep strong faith in the great architect of the universe, to enable us to continue to thrive as life form here on the planet Earth, in the universe, the Milky Way, in this galaxy. So I feel like we're going to be doing a lot of those kind of what do you want to call those, trial and error experiments or projects, just to test the wind pressure, see if it's stable enough first. Kind of speculate at it. We could reference speculative masonry with uh, operative masonry in mind. Probably can't we? Uh, DC, I'm going to meet with Large, and then I'm going to attend the lecture. I can't remember his name on the top of my head, but he is going to be today's host or speaker, excuse me, on with us with superiority. Can't wait to do that. It's always a very, very enlightening, enriching in time to just be in the presence of those kinds of brethren. You know, those types who don't let their education on Freemasonry or achievements or accomplishments ever get to the point where it starts to show through the skin, if you know what I mean. They are the ones that you know by those types of markings or labels, so to speak. If you were there and had been a participant, a witness, a true support, it's in you know that would be it, because they have a very nice composition, eh? Especially when they're, that means when the only time it's relevant to me, what I'm, in care of for, when we're on live, and we're meeting, fellowship, and getting to know brethren we've never met before, that come along. Some great brothers, intellectual brothers have come through superiority, and I've had the opportunity, because I personally take the time to participate, to meet them, and I'm very glad I've met the acquaintance of a lot of those brothers. Who was their intellect and philosophy is a very powerful, strong type of thing. So I hope you get into researching, get into research lodges, dib in on things. Explore a lot of the outer edges. Check out some of those provisions that are set up because of the various jurisdictions of which we have grand lodges, and mobilize some passive type of care services for those elders in your community, in our communities that need help. Need physicians and practitioners around, because the fast, hasty eating, because of charity, coronavirus, pandemics, crises, taking decreases and etc. because of the pandemic and fatal, um, otherwise, types of predominations, if you will. It's not doing them good on their health, and they know that. And that's not good, because they really have good positive will and desire, and perspective when it comes to nutrition. And so there's a conflict of interest. There is a gap between nutrition and health. And I charge us, today to research in our communities, become, uh, those who people can remember, just as we have remembered already Freemasons. We've already learned about whom have passed on to the Grand Lodge up above, and we just won't let the memory ever fade. And so, yeah, sisters in the chapter, stay faithful, and I appreciate everything you're doing, loving it. Uh, you know, Great vibes, dance, etc. Um, you know, hey, I just want everyone to do what you want to do, and we hope and we pray. Then the results of that is, something that we also appreciate, and we don't regret. So yeah, I'm gonna meet, do some homework. I've got some homework to do before these meetings, so that I'm able to catch on a lot quicker, a lot more efficiently. Time is going to be kind of crushed, because sometimes a meeting is scheduled so an hour or so it goes a little over, because you can't control the conversation. You can't dictate it, rather, ahead of time, and things get really interesting. You go 5, 15 minutes over, 30 minutes, sometimes an extra hour. I've been there. And that's still too early to dismiss, to adjourn the meeting. So, um, I guess the biggest thing is research in Freemasonry. Find out who needs Freemasonry and find out who doesn't. Find out who needs, peer support. Find out who doesn't. Fill the gap, right? Fill the gap, but not in a way that sits once it's there and never moves again. Just fill the gap and then get out of the gap and come back around and fill the gap and get out of the gap. Because if you don't fill the gap that way, then you're actually not really a fill at all. You're actually a missing piece of the gap, and the bridge is still necessary, right? We still need the bridge. If you come in and out, which shows that you too are in a pattern, and you're demonstrating something for someone, and you're not doing the work of someone else for him or her, then you're being in the gap, and then you're getting out of the gap, showing that the gap can be bridged. And then you get back in the gap and get back out and show the bridge can fill the gap again. And you get back out of the gap as a bridge, get back into the gap, because your natural function as a bridge is to fill gaps. So there should be no superfluity about it into a person's demeanor, and those types of common grounds. It should not be that componential. It should be something more procedural to correct things, because well, when you know your words well enough, then you know your history and geography and location well enough to know from where those words have derived, in terms of characters that it takes to make those words. Of course, we can say them in different ways, mispronounce them, or have our own unique way, and there's no way to control that. Um, but the letters that it takes to compose the word are each an individual letter derived from somewhere. Even if it appears more than once in a word, it's still the one same letter appearing the one only once one time. And that's because we've not enough letters or symbols or time to create symbols that will supply us language as human beings. We are the ones that are faster than our own artwork. The artwork doesn't get faster than we do. And it's not the movies like the piranha plant eating, what's it called? It's not the movies where you're in the mad scientists in the laboratories, experiment turns backwards, and things go that way. That's not reality. What reality is, in my opinion, is how you show a person something. You don't show to a person a thing. Well, you'd be amazed at the attention span of a human being if your information is not continuously renewing and refreshing. I imagine. And so, anywho, uh, study Freemasonry, studying Grand Lodges, more of the ritual. Find other lodges you don't mind visiting. Find how you can expand your experience. Um, and not just because in you it's something personal, but because it's benefits in the fraternity. In nature and in age, we get older, it's inevitable. And some of our worshipful masters are just too aged to continue to do certain things. Sometimes they end up on walkers or wheelchairs, etc. And it's just inevitable. The mind is really healthy, the body's healthy, but it's just age. And we have to have someone who can carry that torch when he passes it, right? When the torch is passed. And so, um, you know, with that being said, let's get into how we can um, expand the experience, become more proficient, and become more familiar with Masonic intercourse, and become more scientifically, intellectually inclined towards the endeavors and the philanthropy that also is going on in Freemasonry. Okay, so yay. Um, the difference for me and why I come the way I come across is because I'm also, as lots of a lot of the Freemasonry percent rating requires or requests rather, it's for elite individuals when it comes to commercial compliments. If you're that good, not everybody with a device or a camera is going to be able to pay these proceeds to the accurate contributor or receive the correct percent accuracy rate ratio of retribution. And so, me, I'm a broadcast journalism major. That's a lot different, you see, from a brother or sister who's a doctor. Huh? I too am a doctor. I'm a doctor of metaphysics, right? But you know, again, different from one of the other ones. That's a separate degree. Is metaphysics not my major? So that's an additional degree altogether. However, something that I enjoy, so I went that route. We've, like I say, brothers and sisters who are from other professions, and it's the same scale, that way, if you ask me. All right, so Yeah, I'm a broadcast journalism major, so and I prefer in front of the camera, not behind it. And so, talking on broadcast live correspondence circle is an easy piece of pie for me, because I'm already presented by the states of Florida to project some percentage of broadcast entertainment, media, studies uh, to the public, right? And so this is my territory on broadcast. And like I say, brothers and sisters of different professions could have devices, etc. But this is the territory of those who are in broadcast, who really are working with cameras in terms of engineering, mastering, mixing, etc. Multimedia. Okay, it could become a jungle for those who are into some other profession or field. And so, um, in the United Grand Lodge of England, the Quarter Coronati Lodge, number 2076 Correspondence Circle, I recognized this morning. Not wearing my regalia, but I'm a member of the QC 2076 Correspondence Circle. Um, and again, I'm considered elite. I am a commercial public radio music recording artist, music producer, entertainer. I have been on radio here in Tallahassee, Florida since as under an independent label since 2007, I think, 7ish, I think is when it went radio. But yeah, so that's the reason I promote. Sorry about that. Heavy winds. Thanks a lot, Mike. Good day, Mike. Um, so yeah, I'm also of my own radio show that airs on Blog Talk Radio. I know other Freemasons who as well broadcast their own shows. I'm not sure if they're really broadcast majors or not, but I am. So I've my own personal regime of broadcasting suspense for those who really are, you know, susceptible, no pun intended, to open mass population public media, such as those who would see me. So, such as how I would get my advanced percent acquisition credit ratings up to wherever the dollar is in a commercial world market, such as North America's compliments, and earn a penny for me today towards my dollar, which I could spend over several entities which I've membership sworn and pay dues to as well. To get myself something to eat, then I can afford to study my nutrition chart based on my elders who trust me to project their health reflections today, which is in psychology, which I have two credentials, certification in psychology criminal justice, psychology research methodology. And I recognize the School of Psychology of the University of Queensland, Australia, and me instructors for doing a good job with the course, in my opinion. It's really phenomenal, and it's going something about it that's going to stick with me as well as resonate for a very long time. I'm not going to disclose it now, but just want to make that known. I appreciate them also inspiring me to take up the British English foreign language class so I can actually speak, promulgate the professional proper pronunciation of British English language, which is Eastern, in contrast to Western English, which is cosmopolitan, in my opinion. So, um, to the Grand Lodges, lots to study, lots to be thankful for, lots to look back in recognition for. Humility, right? Humiliation, humbleness. The reason, as a master, as a grand master, there's no reason for me to go above and beyond unless I'm still carrying the basic principles along with me. And it's something like Freemasonry in the large eye, man. Me, brethren and sisters, for me, individually, independently, obviously, staying in communication with the grandmasters, with the ones who predecessed me, is the best way I could ever go if I myself, as a master of the lodge, want to continue to affect people and impact the community. They've a lot more footsteps in the geographic world than I have in philosophy. I don't know, because I'm a kid's kid scholar. I was a kid talking like I was an adult, and so um, all across America, there's just enough of Freemasonry between us to it's for me to get off of here now, because from another brother, probably right now as we speak, or sister, or not far behind me, or before me, is also going to share with everybody what kind of a great essence we can feel on Saturday mornings. And Freemasonry is Freemasons, and Eastern Stars for those sisters, right? My Eastern Stars. Um, you know, like I say, I've a couple meetings, so it's not all centered around me today. Even here, as I speak, I've got to get off of here anyway to get to study for who is going to be the speaker. Another speaker about what Freemasonry, just as I'm doing. So I'm not gonna try to sit on for hours and hours and hours, because I understand I'm in a brotherhood, and it is all of us who are promulgating the study of Freemasonry and applied Masonry, where education on Freemasonry is concerned, particularly uh, the history, tradition, and other scraps of the art of it. There's something else I would rather say, but can't think of it right now. Anywho, uh, I'm gonna do my best to come up with what that is and bring it the next time that we meet upon the level of equality. We act by the plumb of righteousness, and we part upon the square of equality.